Hello and welcome everyone. This is another rook endgame study. Here white has rook and pawn and black has a rook. Let's find out winning move for white here. It is e7. Now black plays rook e4, threatening to win a pawn and also threatening to give a checkmate in one. But don't worry. White has amazing move here, that is a rook h3 check. So now it saves white from checkmate in 1. King has to move upward, king b4, and now another brilliant move, that is rook h4. This rook pins the black rook, so rook cannot capture the pawn, and if rook captures the rook, then this is queening and white is winning. If black plays rook b8, then give a check from rook a6. So black moves upward, king b4, and now rook b6, again sacrificing a rook with check and deflecting a black rook from defending e8 square. So rook takes and pawn queens. This is another rook and pawn endgame. Find the winning move for white here. The winning move for white is h6. Now let's consider several options for black. Let's say rook goes back to go h8 and to stop the pawn, but now h7, rook h8, and now king g5, king e6, king g6, king e7, king g7, and rook is trapped. Anywhere rook moves, and next move is promotion and white is winning. And if after h7 king f6, then rook f1 check, king g7, rook captures rook, king captures rook, and promotion. White is winning here. After h6, if king f6, then h7, king g7, and now the white pawn is attacked by king, and if white king moves to g4, which attacks black rook and also defend this pawn, but it is a blunder because now black can draw via rook f8, king g5, rook h8. Now anywhere rook moves, the next move is rook captures the pawn, and this is a draw. So after king threatening to win the pawn, don't move your king, but instead promote the pawn to queen. And when king captures the pawn and now threatening the rook and also discover check. Now white is winning here. So be very careful on this next move. First promote, bring the king far from the black rook, and then give a discovered check to win the black rook. This is another rook and pawn endgame. Here white has extra pawn. The pawn is on the 4th rank. The white rook is on the b file, and black king is cut off from this whole action. Yet the black rook is in front of pass pawn. This is ideal position for black. Now let's win for white. The winning move for white here is d5. Push the pawn. Although it is not defended, it is indirectly defended. Like if black takes the pawn, then this is a mistake because this white is threatening a checkmate in 1 and also threatening to win the rook. So this pawn is not hanging, but black has to move, let's say king a5. But now defend your pawn with the king. If king a6, now perform this maneuver to kick the rook from d8. Let's see how. King e5, rook checks, king f6, rook goes back and attacks this pawn, but now king goes back. Now rook again give a check and then place the king on d7, which control all three squares. So now rook has to move to h8, push the pawn d6, rook gives a check, king c6, now again threatening a checkmate in 1 for black. So black has to move to a5. If he goes to a7, then on the next move again white is threatening a checkmate in 1 and he has to move again. So king a5, but now push the pawn d7 to stop the promotion. Rook h8 is must, but now king c7. Now rook h7 pinning this pawn, but now king c8. If rook gives a check from h8, then white promotes. Black has to give up his rook and white is winning here. So when the pawn is on the 4th rank, white king is behind the pawn and black king is cut off from whole action. Then this is the way to win with white. This is another rook and pawn endgame. Here white is up a pawn and it is white's move. White wants to move out of this queening square and promote to a queen, but there is some work needed for that. Let's say king plays king b8. Now rook b2 check. Now go king c8. Make the opposition to black king. So anywhere white gives a check, black has to move backwards. So black again threaten to win the pawn, but now white gives a check. King c5. Now plays king b7. Support the pawn. Now again black gives a check. Now go behind the king and again gain the opposition to the black king. Now again black threaten to win the pawn, but now give a check. Black again move backward and now protect your pawn by keeping connected to the pawn. Now black gives a check. Now go again behind the black king. Take the opposition. Now again black threatens to win the pawn but give a check. Black has to move backward. Now go king b6. Protect the pawn. Now black gives again a check, but now again go behind the black king and take the opposition. Now black plays rook a2 to threaten to win the pawn. Now give a check. Rook g3 check. King c2. Now again give a check and now on the next turn you can win the rook. Black has to go to b3. King b3. Rook trades occur and white is winning. The next move is promotion. Let's say instead of king c5, if king goes to d5, then king b7, rook checks and a rook blocks here. As the black king is nowhere near to c5 square, the rook is protected by the king and the next move is promotion. Rook a2 threatening to win the pawn. Don't tempt to play rook c6 check. This is a draw because black can move anywhere. Let's say king d5 and king b7. King is overloaded to protect both the pieces. So black rook can sacrifice itself and this is a draw. The winning sequence looks like this.